Where's my DJ?
Put that camera on me.
Can't believe what I just heard.
Are you good or bad at what you're doing? You're terrible. You're the worst.
Something is wrong with you.
This is the definition of player hating.
The best show on television.
Stop right there. He's the best.
Definitely co-sign that sentiment.
Thanks for tuning in to First Take.
Stop the damn show.
First Take is presented by 5 Hour Energy.
Hello, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to First Take. It is Wednesday, which means we are halfway there. I'm Charlie Arnold, joined here in New York with Max Kellerman. We have NBA analyst Ryan Hollins, and over to the left, NFL analyst Dominique Foxworth. Guys, how you doing on this Wednesday?
How'd the prom go?
How'd the 4th of July go? 4th prom on the 4th of July.
I'm surprised you showed up after yesterday. That whooping you took, Kellerman.
That little flower squirt water. I mean, what's that doing?
Test it out.
It's called style, baby. It's called style, baby.
Somewhere that style.
The first time I ever worked with this guy, he showed up in a hot pink head-to-toe suit.
I know.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen it. It's like a tuxedo.
Prancing in here like the Pink Panther.
That's a lot of pink. Where do you find that much pink material?
Shout out my man JM,
He
man.
finds a
Shout
way.
out my JM, my young fella.
I don't think he appreciated that shout out.
I don't know if you can pull that off, Max. I don't know if you can pull that up, man. I don't
Not
know.
gonna try.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Little
maybe you
guys
should.
look good in pink.
Kyler Murray's a little guy. He had on pink on draft day.
All right, let's get right into things. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they last played together for 3 seasons nearly a decade ago, and since they have both become MVPs on their own, now they are reuniting as teammates in Houston. This past week on the Woj podcast, Mike D'Antoni had this to say about Westbrook and Harden teaming up in H-Town.
James is a horse, and now, the second superstar you add is a horse, and you just try to match it up and try to get the best and then play the way that we need to play to be the best. And our offense, and it's funny, people, they got to change their offense. Well, it's been the number 1 or 2.
Right.
Golden State's the best ever, and we're right behind them.
Right.
And actually, from mid-November on, we were 1 point better offensively efficient than any team in the league. So we're not changing much. We'll tweak it. But to say you got to change, you can't win that way, that's BS.
All right, guys, who needs to adjust more, Westbrook or Harden?
I'll say this. This is a counterintuitive situation. Intuitively, you think, well, Westbrook has to adjust more. Coming to the new team, it's Harden's team, etc. In fact, it's James Harden who's going to have to adjust more. Because Westbrook can't shoot. He can't shoot. His best shooting season, it's below league average from 3. Absurdly high.
Right.
It's like 37% from 3. Think about that for a second. But that's his best shooting season. He's not even a league average 3-point shooter, and he's a high volume shooter. But he does everything else really, really well. So what's Westbrook's value if you're actually going to use him? If he's not just a tradable asset, if you're actually going to use him, what's his value? His value's on ball.
So
Harden can do other things, so
Right.
it's Harden who's going to have to be off ball more.
So his value is on ball because that's pretty much how we've seen him consistently for the last several years. When Durant was there, he was a little bit off ball, and he was part of the problem was that he wouldn't cut and he wouldn't do those things. And I think he's going to be required to do that more often because you heard Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni pretty much laid it out. Their offense was among the best in the league last year. It's been historically great in recent history. So they're not going to change much. James Harden is going to ISO the top. He's going to continue to be the methodical type of player, to use a boxing analogy, he's kind of a technician. And Westbrook is going to come in and to continue with the boxing analogy, he's more of a brawler. He's going to have to adjust to this kind of historically great offense. They're not going to change the offense. And D'Antoni said it. They're not going to change the offense. It's been working to fit him. Harden's going to continue to do his Harden thing, and he's an elite shooter. You're going to ask him to somehow change the way that he plays to fit a guy.
No, but see, he's an elite shooter, so he can play off ball. Look. Daryl Morey's basic philosophy is obviously everyone's just a guy, a jag. That's the expression in the business, right? Then there's some dudes who aren't.
Right.
So what he does is when you have a chance to grab a dude who isn't just a guy, grab him. Figure out the rest later. Figure out the details later. Also, he got a lot younger and got a better asset than he had in CP3. That doesn't mean Westbrook's going to be there long term. Who knows what's going to happen? But for the time being, if you're trying to make a team with what you got now, Harden's going to have to give up the ball.
You're not just trying to make a team, and you're not necessarily trying to make a team where everyone's happy. You're trying to make the best team possible. And their offense did not really need to change. Their offense was about as good as it's going to get. So I don't imagine it would be foolish for them to change much of their offense. They need to find ways. I understand. I think it's a bit of an oversimplification for us on the outside to assume that only thing that you can play with is shooters. Okay, Westbrook can't shoot. That doesn't mean he can't find other ways to play off ball. Doesn't mean that he can't be a cutter and he can't move and he can't set screens and he can't do other things to be impactful. And his catch and shoot numbers may change. When's the last time you've seen Westbrook?
They should go up.
Are you both done? Are you both done yet? Are you both done blabbering about how wrong you both can be? Are you done? They don't have anything to change. There's nothing that these two have to change. Why do I say that? If you really sat back and watched the way that James Harden played last season or dissect his game, he will make the correct pass every time it's there. If Clint Capella is open at the rim for a lob, James Harden will throw the ball out of bounds, literally, play after play after play. And to answer what you said about Westbrook, the biggest problem in his games was time and score. When to shoot, stepping into a 7-second offense. Break down.
It hasn't been 7-second offense recently.
They've been the opposite of that.
They've been
Why?
the
Because
of league.
Personnel.
Right.
They don't have a second guy to push the ball and make plays. The one thing about D'Antoni, when you play against his offense, the one thing that they do really, really special, they punish the help. What do I mean? If you're a guy who's sagging off of Eric Gordon or sagging off of somebody, they hit the immediate three, they take it and they make it, or at least they attempt it. That's when Houston has been really, really successful. One thing that's also special about Russell Westbrook that's going to fit in the system, he's arguably the best rebounding guard we've seen in the last decade outside of LeBron James, if you want to call LeBron James a guard. He gets the rebound in transition, pushes on the break, and now he's surveying the shooters. He's never been in a spread offense.
Right,
He's never had this many shooters.
So I agree with some of the things, but you glossed over a couple things. You said that they're going to punish the helper when people sag off.
Yep.
If you sag off of Westbrook, this is the point that Max is making. You sag off of Westbrook, he can't really punish you because he can't shoot necessarily. Where I think that they do kind of clash a little bit, and they will have to change some things because the best way that Harden plays we've seen it. His best seasons offensively, at least, are this methodical offense where he picks you apart, he takes you to the top, isos or pick and roll. The best way we've seen Westbrook play is what you just mentioned. He takes the ball off the rim and he explodes down the court.
But hold on. But this is where I agree with Ryan. I think you're digging too deep into the details of how the Rockets did it given the personnel. Where I agree with Ryan about the personnel is here's the real Rockets system, okay? Like Golden State had the best players. Oklahoma City Thunder got the most possessions, right? Russell Westbrook gambling in passing lanes, lots of rebounds and stuff. The way the Rockets do is they place the most good bets. What are the good bets in the NBA? Threes, free throws, and paint. That's the whole philosophy. I don't think it has anything to do with the particular way Harden plays.
Right.
It's can you just shoot threes, free throws, and get to the paint? So now the personnel is different. They're going to do that.
And Dom,
But hold on. Before we get past it, let me address this with Max. The things that they do is threes, free throws, and paint.
Yep.
Of those three things, what is Russell Westbrook good at?
You can get to the paint.
That's it.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to change some other things. If threes and free throws are more important to their offense, if he can't shoot threes or shoot free throws,
he has to find shooters.
They're going to have to find
shooters.
Well, they're going to have to find other ways. So are you suggesting that maybe they should give the ball to Westbrook at the top and let him make the decisions because Harden can shoot?
Yes, because
let me help you out here. I played with two guys who you'd say non-shooters to marginal shooters at the time. Jason Kidd and Rajon Rondo. Well, guess what? When they get the basketball in their hands, they are playmakers. So maybe it's not Russell Westbrook shooting, and he's going to be better than 29%. Okay,
so,
he's going to be in the gym. That's not a question as a set shooter. Ball's not in his hands. He will be better. But if he gets the ball, it doesn't have to be a three. Maybe he gets in the paint, makes a play for others. He gets downhill. And one of the tough things is when you're a shooter, you give him a full head of steam to attack you in the paint. And Russ with a full head of steam or just seeing one man in front of him instead of 2 and 3 defenders there, that's a headache.
Or even just the gravity. Like there was a lot made of this with Dwayne Wade, who was not a shooter, right? But he attracted defensive attention, and that leaves guys open.
Hey, brother.
And there are a lot of different ways D'Antoni, who's a creative offensive mind, is going to be able to use Westbrook with the ball in his hand. That means Harden's coming off the ball.
When we would play against Russ, we always said build a wall. That was
Right.
preach. 3 and 4 guys. You can't do that in Houston.
I don't disagree with any of that. But the question is who has to adjust more? The person who's going to have to adjust more is Westbrook, because you look at their usage numbers. Harden's, 40%, just about 40%. Westbrook's at about 30%. The person who I'm going to have to take the ball out of their hands more often is the one who was on the offense that was not as effective.
I think these
you take it out of
guys-
Westbrook's hand and you force Westbrook to adjust. And
These
I think
guys
he
have
can.
been screaming for a break.
I'm not-
Now they can take turns.
Okay,
they
so
haven't had
The
that.
problem is
Well-
no one's disagreeing. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying the guy who needs to change more is Westbrook. That's what the debate was about.
I
All
think
right,
they're asking for it.
regardless of who has to adjust, we all know the talent between the two of them really undeniable. Of the 14 50